So let me start with the first part and read it quickly, then we start. It says, despite the fact that Cabinet directed the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to suspend the issuance of all new license permits by the Forestry Commission and also to suspend the licenses already issued for operation in 47 forestry reserves, the directives were ignored and the distraction continued. Where still, soldiers had officially been withdrawn from mining sites, but in many areas, regular Ghana Army personnel were seen providing security at illegal mining sites. Now, what saddened me most was when Mr. Gabby Otchere-Darko called to defend a company that was actively destroying the environment, especially the forests and river fin in the Aprapama and Krobo forest. Then it says, yes, we were ready to dislodge imperial heritage from Krobo Forest when Mr. Gabby Otchere-Darko called to inform me that he was the lawyer for Heritage Imperial Limited, a company that was destroying the Krobo and Aprapama forest reserves, and in the process had also polluted and diverted the course of the River of Fin, as can be seen in the satellite images below. I informed the president about the behavior of Mr. Gabby Otchere-Darko, and he promised to deal with it. Are you lawyers for heritage?
It's very unprofessional of a minister to personalize an issue such as that. Very unprofessional to drop a name on a matter that was purely about a lawyer asking questions about his client. Heritage happens to be a client to one of the lawyers at my firm, Adam. And Heritage had a prospecting license issued on 25th October 2018, okay, which was to expire October 2021. I believe what the minister is referring to happened after this. I think it was in 2019 or 2020. I can't recollect, but he has the date. They had a mining exploration operating permit issued 18th July 2019. They had a forest entry permit issued 12 November 2018, and also an EPA permit. My lawyer comes to me and says that his client, with all these permits and licenses, goes on site with equipment to do prospecting, and the soldiers have come to seize the equipment. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, what do you do as a lawyer? The first thing I did was I asked, but are they with your people? Said yes. So I spoke to the. So
you called the soldiers first?
Yes.
Okay.
To ask what really was going on. And then they said that they were acting on the instructions of the minister. So I called the minister for clarification. Clarification in the sense that I have a client who has all the documents or permits and licenses required to do prospecting. Everything. And he goes on site, and then soldiers come to basically not just stop them from working, but to seize all the equipment. So I asked the minister, but they have permits, so what really, I want to understand the issue. And then the minister fires back and says, they are not prospecting, they are mining. And I said, but minister, the information I have is that they took the equipment on that side today. So I want to be educated. Are the equipment for prospecting different from those that you need to mine? He couldn't answer. And I asked the technical people. They said, no, they're the same equipment. I said, so, I mean, they've just going on site today. So how can you Said, oh, well, they shouldn't have been given the permit to enter the forest. I said, well, I mean, are you challenging the permit as fake? Said, no, but it shouldn't have been issued. I said, yeah, but that's a different matter. But I just want to understand really what the issues are. Is it that, so essentially he gave me his side of the story, which is that he believes that what they were doing was mining, not prospecting, even though they had just gone on site. And that was the conversation that we had.
So what happened after that? Did you then tell him to let the people continue with the work? What kind of intervention did you make?
My intervention was to understand why a company, a legitimate company, with all the licenses and permits required to do prospecting, was being stopped from doing their work. And that's what lawyers we do.
But in this case, they were in a forest reserve, and per the rules around the illegal mining thing, people in the reserves, particular reserves, were supposed to halt operations. How different is this?
There was no issue about halting operations. It was an issue of being issued a forest entry permit. And they entered the mining concession after they were issued all the permits. So even if there was an issue, then it is an issue between the regulatory bodies. Okay? I mean, I wasn't even, if you like, it's not my brief, as it were, but it's because their job was being frustrated. And I had before me all the documents that they required to do legitimate mining, and they were being frustrated. That is why I placed the call, to understand why that was happening to them. I'm very disappointed in the minister deliberately, because that's all I can say, deliberately twisting an inquiry by a lawyer of a client's issue to be an interference. And the thing is, this is a phone call that lasted maybe 3-4 minutes. And he said, it ended by saying, look, they shouldn't have been issued the license in the first place. So that's when we ended the conversation. So I went back to ask the question. I said, no, it's the Forestry Commission that issued us this license. And for me, that was the end of the matter for me, in terms of my dealings with this matter. My lawyer took it up, and it was resolved.
But to the extent that, I mean, whether you want to admit it or not, most people know that you have some clout. Yeah. You're influential. Yeah, and all that with regards to government and all that. You calling the minister, it's not out of place for him to feel that you're interfering based on this background.
Let the minister come and tell me that when I called him, I instructed him, in inverted commas, to do what was not right. Let the minister come and say that when I called him, I was pushing an illegitimate point. Let the minister come and say so. If you read, has he said anything like that? All he said, because my points, I based my intervention on the legality of what my clients were doing and what I saw to be the illegitimate action of the state against a company that the same state had issued permits and licenses to undertake its business legitimately.
Now, in this report, he says he told the president about what you had done, and the president said he would deal with the matter. Did the president ever call you or speak to you on this particular matter?
But it even tells you how weak the minister's understanding of his position is. If what I did was illegitimate, why don't you take the right action? He's going to report me to the minister as if he's a teacher, and the president is a master, and I'm a school prefect, and I've done something wrong. I mean, what kind of silliness is this? I mean, I don't even want to want to comment on that he reported me to the president. For the president to do what?
Call you to order.
The president is a lawyer. The president is a lawyer. And he knows that lawyers are supposed to what? To protect the legitimate business of their clients. So why would the president call me on a matter like this? Why would he even go to the president to complain? Because it's not as if he was going to say that when he got the soldiers to freeze or stop the people from working, I went to give a counter instructions to the soldiers. And the soldiers, ignored his and took mine. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You're calling him, asking questions, snooping around. Isn't that interference, Gabby?
No, but really, isn't it what you do?
My job is to snoop around, get information, all that.
And my job is not to protect the right of my client.
I think I can't speak for him, but you think the issue to do with Gabby as a person, not as a lawyer.
But I'm saying that when I called him, and he is in his report, I told him that I'm a lawyer for the company. If they have all the permits issued legitimately by the state entities that are supposed to issue the permits and licenses, if they are working, then you, the minister, you have no right to interfere.
But
that's what he did.
Yeah, but he found out.
What he did is rather what I saw to be interference, not me intervening on behalf of my client.
So he found out along the line that what they were doing, they were in a reserve they shouldn't be. He has a right to speak to the regulators to stop their work or get the work to be stopped whilst investigations start, because obviously that permit wasn't issued under his regime as well.
No, but he was what? In charge of what? Science and environment? And there was an EPA permit. It's not under him. It is under him. EPA permit that was issued. I can show you a copy of the EPA permit. Is that not under him? Good. There was a forest permit, entry permit. It was not under him, but it was under a commission that is a constitutional body. Okay? All right. So really, if I call him to understand the basis of the action he had taken, and yes, I mean, I'm able to call him because I have to protect the interests of my client. And if I called him because I felt that he was acting ultra vires, outside of his powers, I'm the one who is in the wrong.
What happened to your company in the end, your clients? What happened to them?
In terms of when the truth was established that they were doing things legitimately, what were due them, which they could retrieve if they got them back.
So they've left, they're no more mining there?
Not that I'm aware of.